All right, we're getting started here with another cast, which looking to hopefully be pretty good here. We're still in Division 3. Been here for the past two nights. Had some great best of threes. Was about to say best of five. Best of threes so far. And we do have one coming to you tonight. We've got a lobby made, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly here as we have our teams hopefully going to be ready pretty soon. Our teams for the night are going to be, first of all, Murk-alert, going to be our left side team. They're sitting currently pretty low in the standings. Part of that is offset because they are one of the few teams who has not played their fifth week match, as well as their opponents, Apoc Incorporated. But these two teams are currently sitting at 1-3, so we're able to get one win so far, but struggling a bit throughout the season, each having suffered 3 losses. And as you can see, their map scores are identical. So while alphabetically, I think they decided to put Apoc Incorporated as currently the higher seed. These are basically identical seeded teams, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they can pull out, what they can do during our match here tonight. We do have our maps already gone ahead and picked. If you go ahead and look, we see that the map pick was decided to be for Murk-alert, so Apoc Incorporated will get first pick here. Let me tell the teams to wait up for me one moment. So we do have Apoc Incorporated went ahead and banned out Cursed Hollow and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Meanwhile, we saw Murk-alert banning out Sky Temple and Towers of Doom while deciding to take us on over to Alterac Pass, one of my favorite maps. And we're going to hopefully be getting into that pretty soon here. Team's asking for some information there, so I'm going to go ahead and give it to them, but we're all ready, so hopefully we will be jumping into our first draft here. I'm excited. Alterac Pass is one of my favorite maps, probably only coming after Sky Temple, but not many people enjoy going to Sky Temple in these days, so it's always just waiting to see if maybe someday someone will go ahead and select it. We did have a really nice Sky Temple actually earlier in the week, but here we are, Alterac Pass. It's a big map, lots of macro focus, as well as poke-based team fight you're going to look for a lot here. And it looks like we're going ahead and getting into our first draft of the evening. Got a little bit of a in-game visual bug in the bottom right there. That's a new one to me, but we're going to go ahead and get into the match. I'm interested to see what exactly these teams are going to bring on out. Hopefully we're going to have some exciting stuff throughout the night. I could see this certainly going to 3 maps. Hopefully, I would like to see it go 3 maps, just so that we get to have the maximum entertainment. But regardless, we're gonna see how it goes. As we've got first pick in favor of Apoc Incorporated. As I said, they're also gonna therefore have the first bans, and we're looking mostly at macro when it comes to what you might want to get rid of here. I don't expect to see too many target bans. I'd likely just see globals or heroes like maybe Ragnaros, which can be pretty effective in making your life a pain as you're trying to de-push or as you're trying to push. But they're going to go ahead and ban out Zool. Even from the first pick position, sometimes you see that nowadays is they just don't want to have to deal with it. They don't want to pick it themselves because it does kind of define what draft you have to go into, and so they're just going to take it out of the match. On the other side, we could see a Deathwing ban, although I'm not sure if we'll see it now. It would probably come down to the next ban phase, or the next 2 bans, as that is another hero who can definitely define how drafts work. So first we're going to see just a Kael'thas ban. They don't want to deal with the Living Bomb spread with the poke that he gives, as well as the burst, so they're going to just take it away. Also a hero who can provide some pretty good wave clear, which can help to de-push those objectives, as they are most effective when they have a large minion wave with them. Now Apoc going to go ahead and be able to choose their second ban here, and it's going to be Kel'Thuzad. Not sure if that's a target ban necessarily, but going to take out the mage, who is known for his potential to just completely blow up people and leave a bad taste in your mouth when you're playing against him, as he is just he can seem so overpowering if you are not able to deal with him efficiently during team fights. Last ban going to come out now before we get into our first pick here, and Murk-alert is going to decide to ban out Deathwing, so just not really wanting to have to deal with his insane pressure that he gives on the map with his global, as well as the insane amount of team fight potential that he provides. Maybe not comfortable with some of the counter picks such as Malthael, Greymane, Leoric, those kinds of heroes who provide the percentage based damage into him. We're going to go ahead and see a Johanna first pick. Super solid tank. I don't think I need to reiterate how powerful she is, but it's going to be a Ragnaros and a Deckard in response here. Ragnaros, as I was talking about, can give some pretty strong macro pressure with the Lava Wave, as well as having his trait to be able to stall out the objective or to defend against the objective. So they're going to take that for themselves on the side of Murk-alert, with a Li-Ming Greymane for the side of gosh, I'm so bad at remembering these team names tonight. For the side of Apoc Incorporated, very bursty, very aggressive composition that they have set up so far. So maybe a ban onto a healer here who might enable that. Something like Lucio I could see, or even a Rhaegar. Taking those away could definitely be good. But it's going to be the Anduin. They don't want to have to deal with a Light Bomb Falling Sword, which is another potential combination that you could have there. It can be very lethal when paired with something like this, being able to chain the CC and get a nice blow up onto one person, and then chain resets with Li-Ming. ETC going to go ahead and be the ban here. Just solid all-around tank that they don't want to have to deal with, so they're going to take it out of the match. Now, 2 picks coming in here for Murk-alert. We'll have to see what they go for. They still need their front line. Not sure if, or well, they need their tank. Ooh, and the Stitches getting pretty spicy here. With looking for the hooks, it looks like. Got that great potential to kind of, I guess, play around the aggressive composition, just sitting back and pulling people away one at a time, trying to get the win fights that way. So a bit of a different approach here when it comes to team fights, maybe looking for macro pressure with Ragnaros and Sylvanas, while Stitches is able to keep the team up one person maybe. And we're going to see Rhaegar here as the healer pick, as I suspected. Pretty strong, aggressive healer. And then Blaze, an offlaner who will give them some wave clear, which will help a lot for sure, but also is just super bulky and able to provide some protection for his team. Last pick, going to be the Gul'dan. Pretty decent poke, but also very, very huge potential for wave clear and lots of damage if you make it into those late game team fights. So look to see stacking quest at level 1, what we're going to see Gul'dan going for there, as that could very much determine how he plays throughout the map. But 2 pretty solid drafts so far for these 2 teams. I'll go ahead and start a poll up, see who we think is favored in this first matchup. I'm liking both of these drafts a lot, but I think that if I had to give it to one, I would have to give it to Apoc Incorporated, as we are seeing a bit of a cheesy draft here for Murk-alert, which will require them to play that said draft very well, focus on successfully executing on the kind of cheese with the Stitches pull. If they are able to, I think they'll be able to win it dominantly, but we'll have to see what comes out in the end between these 2 teams. On this map, we're going to be looking to see a lot of pressure through the mid lane on the camps potentially, and then otherwise it's really just going to be all about soak, kind of a slow wind up towards the beginning of the match as we work towards the first objective and towards the level 7 talents where you normally see team fighting starting to go. Alright, and here we are for the first match. Starting on the left with the side of Murk-alert, we have, starting it out all on the Deckard, Misery Sin. We've got that followed up by Gul'dan, played by Traxix, Dougie D on the Stitches, Kion on Ragnaros, and Packet on the Sylvanas. Against them is going to be Apoc Incorporated. They have Apoc on the Johanna, Nazgul on the Li Ming, Ryu on the Greymane, Indiana on the Blaze, and Rhaegar in the bottom lane right now, played by Kokina Mary. Alright, looking like we've got some interesting choices to start off with. Looks like we've got a bit of a Blast Wave build for Ragnaros, something that you do see a lot nowadays, as opposed to the more traditional Q build. We also have the Fell Flame build for Traxxas, so looking for some long-range poke, but consistent poke at that, by being able to stack up the Fell Flame there. Laws of Hope selected for Johanna for the extra sustain, which will help a lot against said poke, and a bit of a Q build starting out, hoping for the spell armor charges to be able to help in case of a Stitch's Hook hitting Nazgul. As I mentioned, we do have Rhaegar starting off as a bit of an offlaner here. It looks like Nazgul is going to swap out there, but an interesting selection, but not too strange, as Rhaegar does provide a lot of wave clear as a healer and is able to be very flexible in that way. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we just have Indiana and Keon trading it out. Looks like so far Keon getting a bit of the upper hand. We'll have to see if that continues throughout the match or not. At this moment, the camps are up for both teams, neither making a move quite yet, but it does look like we're going to see Ryu on the Greymane starting to rotate, while we have Gul'dan maybe looking for a gank into this bottom lane, but Li Ming is playing it very safe in the bottom right there. Knows that these two are here and actually going to get a pretty nice orb, dealing a good bit of damage out to these two. That being said, the wave clear of Li Ming is not the best, and they are going to get pushed in here thanks to Sylvanas and Gul'dan doubling up on them. Greymane doing pretty decent against the camp, but gonna need help if they want to complete this out successfully. Getting super low. Gonna back out. I was really afraid for them for a moment there. I was about to pull the camera away because there's nothing worse than getting caught having just died to a camp. Sylvanas and Deckard, meanwhile, starting out the camp on the other side. They do have two here, so they'll complete it a bit quicker, but already the red team's camp pushing in. That's going to reduce the armor of the structures if it's allowed to push up to them and do a lot of potential siege damage, and I'm not sure Stitches is going to have the D-push necessary, especially once Greymane arrives. They're going to have a lot of pushing pressure. Currently in the top lane, looks like still trading pretty favorably here for Ragnaros. Indiana just trying to get those globes for their globe quest, sitting at 5 right now. Once they get that unstoppable, it will help a lot against the Stitches. Speaking of Stitches, we are going to see Patchwork Creation at the level 1 for the extra healing, and then Serrated Edge, so looking for damage on that hook, trying to make sure that they're taking out the target who they hook to get that ever important pick. Apoc being the one pulled in right now, and they're actually getting very low, staying around inside of this wave, which is going to reduce their armor. As I said, these Gnolls on the Gnoll camp do a lot of damage and also enable a lot more damage through the armor shred that we see there onto Apoc. They are going to get helped out by Blaze, but that's going to allow the blue team to start the channel onto this objective. A nice orb interrupts Traxxas just barely, as well as a good jet propulsion, so lots of poke coming out here, but it's going to be, we're going to have to see the team fight committed to here. Ruby going to come out for Deckard, going to try and get some healing out to his team, and it looks like the healing is going to be favorable for the blue team, as they're going to push off the side of Apoc Incorporated, with the entirety of the team getting pretty low right now. Greymane dives in though and gets the first reset as they kill Sylvanas. Lots of damage coming out from Li Ming here. A great jet propulsion, hits multiple, and that's going to be resets galore as we see both Ragnaros and Gul'dan falling, with Deckard also getting low, but was able to save themselves thanks to all of the potions coming out from that Ruby. About a half-level lead now for the side of our red team, as we see an orb build committed to here for Li Ming, so fully going into that huge poke-based playstyle instead of maybe trying to chain resets a bit more with the Calamity. Also see, oh, we see the Ragnaros trade actually coming out, so looking to push the red team off of this fort, or off of this objective, and they're going to be able to do that successfully. Very effective for doing that, but unfortunately with the Ragnaros trait down now, if they do lose this objective, it will be pretty bad news for them. Indiana on the blaze, as well as the Rhaegar backing now. The channel going to be resumed here for the blue team. Apoc Inc. needs to get something done here to stop this channel, as it's only got a few seconds left on it. Johanna trying to walk in and get the channel, but she's going to be consistently interrupted here, and I don't think, nope, she's not going to be able to, and now Apoc Inc. just needs to try and find kills here, and they are going to find one starting on Deckard, chasing Traxx on the Gul'dan. Very nice magic missiles coming out, but the orb barely short, not going to matter, as Blaze finishes the kill. That's 2 kills. Gonna give about a level lead now for the red team, but they haven't been able to get the objective, so they're now going to have to go ahead and defend that. Looking at our talents here, Li Ming currently putting in so much damage, sitting at double the closest, which is Ragnaros on the enemy team. In the top lane, we are going to see 2 pushing in here. Even 3 actually against Indiana on the blaze. They're going to have a bit of a hard time trying to de-push that, even with the level 10s coming in any moment now for the red team. They're going to ping for help. Help is on the way as the bottom lane is cleared up, and Greymane actually just pushing in now with this minion wave. Blaze getting chunked pretty efficiently as the front wall is going to go down, but that looks like it's going to be just about it for this objective. Getting the front wall in the top lane and a tiny bit of damage in the middle lane, but not much else. Good defense here thanks to being up the heroes and also the talent here, as we see Falling Sword, Cursed Bullet, Combustion, the Repulsion, or not Repulsion, that's the level 20, Wave of Force. I knew that. It is late for me, so I'm having a bit of a struggle on these talents tonight. And the Bloodlust for Rhaegar, so a very, very aggressive ultimate choices for the red team. We're going to have to see how that plays out for them, if they're going to be able to get these explosive team fights that they're looking for. In the bottom lane, looks like we have 2 pushing in against Ryu for the moment, but Indiana and Nazgul are going to come in, try and pressure back, as we have a pretty even game so far. A bit of a lead here for the red team on the side of experience, but when it comes to structures, the blue team able to take the early lead with that objective, even if just a little bit. Level 10's now in for the side of the blue team, and we are going to see the Lornado for Deckard, Lava Wave for Ragnaros. We've got Horrify for Gul'dan. We've got the Putrid Bile coming in for Stitches, so not fully committing to the pick. But with that being said, we do have the Mind Control for Sylvanas, so lots of ability to displace and, well, yeah, just displace the team members of Apoc Inc. And the Lava Wave is going to help them to keep up in Soak, as we do see that now the level lead has decreased to about half of a level for the side of Apoc Inc. Blue team hovering around objective now. Looks like they are going to potentially go on the offensive. No. See that the red team has rotated in, so they're just going to hover around, start maybe poking at each other potentially here. Apoc going to start the engage, coming in. Nice jet propulsion to follow it up. The Blessed Shield comes out, or the Cursed Bullet comes out. Blaze uses Combustion, puts out a ton of damage, as well as the Falling Sword, but both of the frontliners have fallen for the red team. That being said, Deckard and Ragnaros have fallen for our blue team, and a nice dive there from Rhaegar is going to secure the kill onto Sylvanas. So, a 3-for-2 trade in favor of Apoc Incorporated. What looked like it was starting off very poorly for them, as both their frontliners died, turned out pretty well thanks to the aggression there from the Bloodlust and the resets here from Li Ming. So well played on that by Apoc Inc. Unfortunately though, they did have to back up to get their taps, so they were not able to start the channel onto the objective. So we are going to see yet another 5 versus 5 fight here, most likely. Apoc Inc. though, I like what they're doing here. They don't expect for the blue team to push in as they're up a talent, so they're going to use this time to go ahead and grab a camp here, get a bit of macro pressure going for themselves, and really just be able to push in still with the talent tier advantage here. That being said, Lava Wave putting in a lot of work in the bottom lane, clearing very quickly and getting the XP caught up for the side of Murk-alert. Indiana going to try to open the start the channel, but level 13s are in for both sides, and both sides are ready to defend this point here. You can see in the top lane just how much damage the lava wave can do if you don't clear out those waves, as the fort did fall to about a third. So we'll need to watch for that, as in the bot lane got an entire wave pushing in. That's going to do pretty decent damage. These forts are going to start falling pretty low if we don't see movement coming out of the red team to get onto this objective. And it looks like they're going to do just that. They see all of their ultimate abilities are now up, going to use the Bloodlust. Tornado trying to split the team, not quite going to be able to. And we see Sylvanas fall as she is split from the team. Ragnaros uses his trait, but it's not going to be enough here, as the kill is already secured. Blaze being chased off, hit by a huge orb, barely survives. I believe he was on 8 hit points there for a second before he received a heal. So perfect timing from the Deckard to save their tank and hopefully hold on for this objective, as we do have Sylvanas coming up in time to contest in theory. Rhaegar going to go ahead and back for the side of Apoc Incorporated. And as I expected, we do have the bottom wave, or the bottom wave did push in against this fort and get it down to about half, as we're going to see Murk-alert go ahead and get the channel back onto this objective. Good hook onto Indiana, gonna have to jet propulsion out. Johanna using her trait to help peel, but she's getting chunked as well. The reduced healing coming out from Stitches, the level 7 there. Blight going to help out a lot, as it's going to really reduce what little healing that we see coming out from Rhaegar. Blue team gonna push onto the objective, as we have the side of Apoc Incorporated working on this siege camp. Nice hook onto Nazgul, but not follow-up for it. So it's going to be a cooldown, as we see now the Putrid Bile committed to, as well as the Falling Sword. The aggression is starting once again. Huge Lornado going to push back half of the red team, but the combustion comes out onto WD and onto Misery Sin. We're going to see Ragnaros being the first to fall, followed by Sylvanas. Blaze is going to fall to the DOT from Gul'dan there, but we're going to see Stitches taken out with another reset, as well as Deckard. So a 4-for-1 trade. Pretty strong team fights here for the red team, but again, they're falling so far behind on the macro because of this lava wave. Bot fort is all the way gone. Top fort still pretty low. Their saving grace is they have been getting the camp very frequently in the mid lane, so that is pushing in. And now they are looking for a boss, with the fact that there are these death timers for the side of Murk-alert. And with Greymane, they should be able to get that pretty quickly here. Bit low on mana and health, but not gonna matter. And the mid lane fort, with that armor reduction, has fallen even before the objective could be taken, or could come in to push for the side of the red team. And now we've got a boss and the objective with wave pushing in the top lane. Ragnaros gonna use his trait. Let's see how this push goes for the side of Apoc Inc. Looking very aggressive right now, as the swipe does come out to clear most of the wave, but the boss still at 2/3 of its health. Objective getting a bit low, down to about 1/4 of its health, but the engage is there. Huge jet propulsion followed by the combustion. Fear gonna interrupt that, so it won't get too much damage out. And now Apoc is the one who's getting low. Gonna drop Rhaegar in too deep, and Kokina Marie is gonna fall as well. So 2 kills actually coming out on the defense, as we see the side of Apoc Inc. pushing out a bit too far in front of their boss, as they did not have Ryu on the Greymane. He was pushing in the bottom lane, which does secure them the 3rd fort. So a pretty sizable macro lead now here on the side of Apoc Inc. But with those kills, we see that the levels are even now. So a 2-fort lead, and that's about it for the side of Apoc Incorporated. Level 16s have come in for both teams, as you can see the talents there. Going ahead and looking at the stats here, Lei Ming still the highest in the game by still about double the closest, that being Sylvanas now from the side of Murk-alert. So Orb build putting in a ton of work right now, doing lots of damage, insane poke, and we're gonna have to see if we can have Murk-alert figure out a way to deal with that, because if they're not able to, I think these team fights continue to go in favor of Apoc, as they have scouted out the bush there and not going to get caught by the trap. These teams just going to walk away from each other as we have the camps clashing in the mid lane. Much bigger wave for the blue team. Going to have to get cleared out here by Apoc. Able to do that so effectively on Johanna. And Greymane staying bottom to make sure there is no sneaky boss call. Got to clear out the wave now that he does see where the red team is, or the blue team is at. Alright, so level 18's in for both of these teams. Neither really favored and neither close to 20s. We're going to have to see who comes out on top here. Lava Wave is up again in 10 seconds, so they can use that to pressure, whether it be in the top lane or here in the bottom lane where they have the equalized camps. So we'll have to see how they decide to use that and what value they're going to get. Looks like it is going to come out into the top lane, so they're hoping to get their second foot of the game through that passive pressure. Apoc going to have to respond quickly with either a team fight or by rotating someone off to soak that. Otherwise, they will lose that fort without gaining much for themselves. Big corruption coming out. Going to have to use the Laws of Hope there for Johanna. But otherwise, it looks like now we're finally having that engage as the top fort is going to fall here. You can go ahead and check that out. Ragnaros using his trait to continue to poke away at the red team, deny them this objective. Apoc pulling in the team, using their trait. Also the cleanse coming out onto them. But the Bloodlust is used, Falling Sword just for an escape, and that's going to be Rhaegar, the first death in this initiation. Bloodlust was used in time, luckily, but we're going to see now the combustion coming out as well. But not going to matter as we see Johanna fall, Blaze falling, and now Ryu on the Greymane also getting quite low. Nice wave of force for the disengage, but that is 3 long death timers for the red team. They're going to need to try and poke away, otherwise it is very unlikely that they're able to defend this objective. Ooh, and the poke just a bit too short range there, so the channel is going to start with about 40 seconds on the longest member here for the red team, and level 20s here for the side of Murk-alert. They're going to have the Bottomless Flask for the extra sustain, the heroic difficulty, going to put out a lot of damage, Demonic Circle, Shambling Horror, and Bolt of the Storm, so some very strong tools in for the survivability and the damage of the blue team. A nice hook onto Nazgul. They're going to get locked down and dropped, and that is the worst thing if you're in this on the side of Apoc Inc, because now you're not going to have that up for the defense. You're just going to have to accept that you're going to get pushed here, and the lanes are already pretty pushed outside of the middle lane, so we're going to see potentially Keeps getting assaulted here by this objective. Second one in the game, or third one in the game rather, and the second one for Murk-alert here. Lava Wave going to push out the mid lane. That being said, good job here from the red team. Going to prep the top lane with a nice big wave for themselves. Meanwhile, the bottom lane is being assaulted, so they're going to have to start rotating down, seeing some hearts coming out, because this is now a big wave for the blue team. Looking to push in with the objective. Lots of damage coming out onto Indiana. They're going to pop their trait, pop the combustion. Not going to hit anyone though. Mind Control comes out onto Johanna, as well as the Fear onto Greymane. That's a lot of damage very quickly. And Ryu trying to trade out, but the Bottomless Flasks are enough. Going to keep Sylvanas alive, and that is Greymane down. Again, another key member down for this defense, just as Nazgul comes out. That is the worst possible case here. Luckily, 20s are in. We are going to see the Indestructible for Johanna. We're going to see Blaze falling, actually, as Ragnaros uses his trait. And now, you can see the level 20 towns, but we've got the blue team potentially looking for game here. They're going to push onto this core, but it does have both armor shields here for the two Keeps in the mid lane and the top lane, so it's not going to take that much damage, and the poke from Li Ming is going to be enough to deter them. They're going to go ahead and move, as a result, into the mid lane where they still have an objective going and try and take down this Keep so that they can potentially still end while they have these 3 heroes dead for the red team. Hook goes onto Nazgul, no follow-up though, and huge orbs coming out again. But now that is 2 Keeps down. Looks like potentially the third Keep going to fall here, as we have the blue team rotating once again, using possession, just getting such macro push here with all of the minions from Lava Wave and from Sylvanas. That's going to be 3 Keeps down, all structures gone except for the core for the side of Apoc Inc, but they hold on And they've reached 20, so they do have some hope here. We're going to see the Indestructible, as I said, for Johanna, as well as the Hunter's Blunderbuss, the Burn Notice for Blaze, Taldrasha's Elements for Li Ming, and Stormshield for Rhaegar. But meanwhile, in the top lane, boss has been taken, and Nazgul not going to be in time to try and get any stall onto it. They're going to have to try and defend. Ragnaros is backing, so it looks like blue team not going to try and use this boss to end the game. Or maybe they are taking a bit of an interesting rotation here, maybe looking for a pick with these Stitches. No, they're going to go for this siege camp here, take that away from the blue team, just try and control the map as much as they can. WD on the Stitches, actually popping the Putrid Bile, trying to make sure that the red team cannot get onto this camp. Meanwhile, we have Rhaegar and Johanna not going to be the fastest clear, and with no shielding, or armor rather, on this core, they're going to need to get some additional help before they leave this boss to the core. Core will, of course, regenerate any health that it loses, which is very nice for the side of Apoc Inc. Means that they are going to have a chance, but there's another boss being taken in the bottom lane, and they have to be aware of that, because if this one gets pushed in with the team, it could almost certainly be game in favor of Murk-alert. And it looks like they are aware of it. They're going to start pushing out the wave in the bottom lane while they leave Blaze to defend the rest. Lava Wave does come out though, as well as the boss, so this is going to have to be a defense against this boss from the side of Apoc Inc. Murk-alert doing their best to just try and stall them out as much as possible so that they can get onto the objective and get as many seconds onto this 50-second channel as they can for free. Ooh, Bloodlust even committed to for the defense on this boss. Greymane being the person who isn't there, I feel like this is a huge mistake. Have Blaze clear the minion waves in the middle lane. He's great at that, but they need Greymane on this boss for this single target damage. Boss is going to drop pretty low. I feel like at this point it is in a situation where they can leave it, as the objective has begun the channel. 30 seconds in, or 30 seconds left on this channel. Red team going to have to come in here and look for a team fight to save the game. Blessed Shield goes ahead, or not Blessed Shield, oh man, I'm so used to that being the ult choice here. We're going to have Falling Sword for Johanna, going for the engage. Combustion comes out as well, not going to land onto enough members though, and tons of damage coming out onto the backline from Deckard with his root build there, as well as from the Ragnaros. The Fear comes out onto Johanna, and as soon as Indestructible ends just there, that's going to be a kill. Ragnaros, in his keep form up here with his trait, doing so much damage, is going to drop Blaze as well. That's 2 dead. Stitch is even looking for the hook. Meanwhile, the core has taken a ton of damage from the camp that was pushing down. It's only at 7,000 health, and the blue team is going to get another camp to push in here, as well as their objective. Looking potentially to even just push beyond it and end. And I think that it's likely going to happen. I don't see any way that this gets defended. I was saying they need to find a way to deal with the orb build, and it looks like they did, as that's going to be game 1 going in favor of Murk-alert. GG. Alright. A very nice first game there. Was not quite expecting the turnaround, but as Stitch's health pool scales, it gets really hard to kill him, and he just started eating those orbs, especially once he got the Shambling Horror there at level 20, and he was able to just completely take advantage of it, taking so much. And the Deckard healing here, you can see 130,000. That's a ton of healing compared to the Rhaegar, which allowed the turnaround there. 14 kills to 13 in a very close game, but Murk-alert gonna take the lead here. As I'm gonna make noises drinking my water there. Whew. Should hopefully have very soon whether or not Apoc Incorporated would like to go for the map pick, try and turn it around with somewhere they might be a bit more comfortable, or if they want to go for the first pick again, try and win in their drafting. Alright, still no response. Looks like we've got that coming soon, but yeah, so looking at how this map went, the early game was very powerful for the side of Apoc Incorporated, And that was when we saw them take a huge lead. I believe it was 13 kills to like 5 or so. So they took quite a lead there. Very well played in the early game. But with the scaling that came, as well as the constant macro pressure, as soon as one fight went in favor of Murk-alert, they were able to just snowball it. So I'd like to see them, since they are opting for first pick, try and take away some of the macro pressure that we saw there from the side of Murk-alert, and maybe get some macro pressure of their own, or if we see a map that is less macro focused, just focus on the team fight and focus on having team fight that can win and scale a bit better into the late game, as that was where they struggled the most in those team fights. The front line getting chunked and taken down very quickly during those fights. Alright, we should hopefully have our map here soon, TM, for the side of Murk-alert, as they are choosing once again up 1-0. So what would I like to see from Murk-alert? They definitely struggled in the early game, and while Ragnaros helped them out a lot, I feel like with some of the maps being banned, as we go ahead and look again at those maps, we had Cursed banned out, Sky banned out, Towers banned out. A lot of the bigger maps where you can get away with that kind of play style, where you use the Ragnaros to push in so effectively. So depending on the map we see here, I think they need to work now on having more consistent early team fight, because I don't think they're going to be able to get quite the structure value which kept them in as long as they did. And if we see a strong early game from the side of Apoc Inc., I think on many of these maps that will snowball much harder, even with the Ragnaros there, to help out Murk-alert. Alright, still waiting on a lobby. Looks like we have Murk-alert taking their time. Makes sense. That was a long and close first game, so I would want to take my time to think it through. And looking at the maps, I think, honestly, it's weird to say because you do not see it a lot, but I feel like Garden of Terror might be a good option here. It's the biggest map, and you do have a lot of objectives which allow you to pull the enemy team away from their lanes and try and get the advantage with something like a Ragnaros if it does get let through the draft. Looks like we will have our lobby here, and it's going to be Infernal Shrines. So looking at the team fight here, as I will go ahead and update our maps here. Boom. And we have, again, the map is picked here by Murk-alert. So not sure if this is just because it is, of course, one of those classic maps where you can go just whenever you need a map that's neutral, or you don't feel like there's a map that is favoring you. And could also, though, just be that they have some confidence. They did have a bit of a cheesy draft in the first game, but looking at the heroes they picked, stuff like Gul'dan and Deckard are exceptionally powerful on this map. So I would look to see those having a big impact if we see them let through again, as the Gul'dan struggled in the early game but did so much and had a lot of great moments with the Horrifies in the later parts of that first map on Alterac. So we're going to go ahead and wait for our teams here, and should hopefully be jumping in any moment now. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. Hopefully we're going to see another great game here. I think either of these teams could take this game from what I saw in the last game. We'll have to see what gets pulled out here. The Stitches did put in a lot of work. I failed to mention it, but Dougie D on that Stitches did manage to pull in the frontliners repeatedly. He was able to get consistent hooks to go ahead and punish the frontliners for being so aggressive, using their tools to engage so that they then were not able to walk away. And that was very, very effective for the side of Murk-alert. So that won't be an option here, though. Stitches can't hook through the minions anywhere near as effectively on this map, so we'll have to see how it turns out, as we should hopefully be starting any moment now. We have the ready from both teams, so we will get into our second draft of this best of 3 between Murk-alert and Apoc Inc., looking to claim higher seeding in this Div 3 season. as they are both currently struggling a little bit. But I would expect to see a nice second map here, potentially the third map. We're going to start off with the first pick for Apoc Incorporated. And by that, I mean, of course, they have the first pick, but that means the first ban. So what are they going to get rid of? Will it be the Ragnaros? The trait was very effective at stalling. But no, they're going to get rid of the Zool again. They don't want to play it, so they don't want to see the enemy team play it, and they don't want the risk of it getting through the bans. Especially after, in the first game, we saw that Murk-alert will now know that Apoc Inc. is willing to ban it, so Murk-alert doesn't have to. Johanna going to be the ban here. Makes sense. She was very impactful in setting up some of the team fights early on the first map here, and she is even more effective on this map thanks to the fact that she is able to have that clear onto the shrine minions. Keel'thas going to get banned out this time by Apoc Incorporated. They're not going to take him, so they want to ban him because the Fire Mage just does so much if you're able to put the living bombs onto the shrine minions and just spread them around the enemy team. Next ban coming out here before the first pick, what will it be? I feel like the Ragnaros has to be a contested pick after how well it worked in the first game, or are we going to see... Okay, so we've got a Chromie ban here. I'm thinking this must be somewhat of a target ban here. Chromie, not known for being the strongest on this map, but it is going to be the Ragnaros first pick. They don't want to let it through again, and so they're going to take it. Nazgul on the hero, so switching roles maybe a little bit, or maybe going for a bit more of a bruisery frontline kind of dive ball comp here, as they did love, or they did have the Greymane with the Bloodlust there. So maybe another kind of divey, aggressive comp here. That being said, we're going to see a very similar opening. We have the Deckard again and the Sylvanas again. So two strong heroes for the side of Murk-alert there. Gonna be Varian and Greymane the pickups here. Apoc on the Varian, so potentially a main tank Varian here. Or we might see the Colossus smash for a blow up, or even the Twin Blades, perhaps, maybe. I'm not saying anything, but I mean, we got the Orb build in game 1. Who knows? Maybe the Twin Blades in game 2. Gonna have the ban now here for the side of Murk-alert. What are they gonna go ahead and get rid of? It is going to be Anduin. So again, just taking away a safe, strong healer who gives lots of protective potential. Ban here now for the side of Apoc Inc. Gonna be onto the Garrosh. He doesn't target the minions anymore for his throw. But I guess, yeah, with the composition that they have, it is already pretty melee heavy, so getting rid of that does make sense. They don't want taunts onto their heroes as they're trying to secure a kill, or a throw interrupting and getting a kill onto them in that way. But again, we're going to see just these comfort picks, it looks like. Only change so far in this draft is going to be ETC instead of Stitches, and honestly, I like that a lot more. ETC, able to have some nice AoE control over the shrine, and some really good CC. We're going to see now Orphea here coming in, played by Kokina Mori, who was our Rhaegar player last game. So again, some role swaps here. And now the last potential pick is going to be Uther for the main heals here. Interesting. Have not seen main heals Uther in quite a while. We'll have to see how that works out for them, as they have a very, very all-in comp here. Orphea, one of the most forward-stepping and aggressive assassins with that Shadow Waltz. And the rest of their team being melee, pretty much. Gonna be answered by Sonya, and I love that. She's great on the map, and she's great into heavy melee. Both of these drafts are looking pretty strong, again. But I'm gonna type the wrong command into the chat. But we're gonna see, who do you think will win? Will it be Murk-alert, or will it be Apoc Incorporated? Both drafts pretty strong. who knows who will come out on top. Go ahead and swap over to our game scene here. And I gotta say, I like both of these drafts, but where last game I preferred the draft of Apoc Incorporated, I gotta say I much prefer the draft here of Murk-alert. I think that their AoE onto the shrine, as well as just their team fight, is much more solid, much more AoE based, and much less reliant on being able to all dive onto a target and execute a dive ball comp, which could be punished very heavily by heroes like Sonya and ETC. Even Gul'dan and Sylvanas are great at punishing the over-aggression and clumping there that we might see. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into this game. We have, starting on the left for the side of Murk-alert, starting out Misery Sin again on the Deckard, Trexx again on the Gul'dan. We have Dougie D on the ETC, Keon on the Sonya, and Packet finishing it off on the Sylvanas. Their opponents at Apoc Inc. going to try and tie up the series with Varian, played by Apoc, Nazgul on Ragnaros, Greymane played by Ryu, Indiana on Uther now, and Kokina Marie on Orphea. So we're going to go ahead and have all 5 members starting off in this mid lane. A bit of a meatball build starting out here for Ragnaros, having the shifting meteor quest at level 1, going to look to stack up the damage there onto that, as well as the duration here. Both teams looking to clear out the wave. Trexx starting it off as we're going to have actually, looks like Ragnaros, Sonya, Greymane, and Sylv going to go ahead and split off here. Uther starting with the auto attack quest here. Bit of an interesting choice, but with the dive ball comp, kind of makes sense. He's going to want to keep up his mana and his stun CD by just being aggressive with the rest of his team and auto attacking heroes. So we'll have to see if that's going to work out for him. I think it could if they're able to be coordinated in their aggression here. But so far, looks like ETC and Deckard doing a pretty good job of shutting that down here in the mid lane. Nothing much happening currently in the other lanes as these solo lanes are just going to trade into each other. Ragnaros again actually winning in his lane for the moment. And Sylvanas currently struggling a bit against Greymane as he is able to chunk her very heavily when he dives in that Worgen form. He's going to start out on his camp for his team. A bit slower to do so for the blue team, currently having not started on their camp. So again, something that was done very well in the early game by Apoc Inc. They got to their camps very early and did it consistently, and already having a lead here on their camp clear. So well played from them in that right. As it looks like they're going to rotate into the bottom lane, potentially look for a second camp here. Looks like we do have 2 votes in favor of Murk-alert, so looking like they're the favorites, and I feel like that's for a good reason. They've got picks that worked for them in the last game, so we're going to have to see if they're going to be able to be overcome in this game, or if the Ragnaros was the key factor maybe, which will now allow for the side of Apoc Inc. to come out on top. The siege camp, as I said, was taken, and a taunt followed up by a stun. First blood coming out in favor of Apoc Inc. Gonna get a nice chain CC, very well executed there. Uther rotating just in time to make sure Sylvanas couldn't get out the haunting wave to save herself. And that's gonna be the first kill of the game. Bit of an XP lead as well for the side of the red team. So again, starting out well in this early game. Looks like we have Ragnaros going for a bit of a globe quest here, looking for the armor activatable there, which will help him out a lot, as well as the sustain through that health regeneration. And of course, taunt for the Varian. No twin memes, as he is our main tank this game. So, unfortunately not going to get the memes, but hey, it happens. Looks like we've got a slam build actually started out for Sonya. Interesting, don't see that too much, but then again, I'm not that much of a Sonya player. So we're going to have the shrine started out here. The Bruiser camp was taken for the side of Apoc Inc., but they're currently down 15 Shrine minions, which is a number that's currently increasing. They need to force a fight here if they want this shrine, and they're going to start it with a taunt and a stun, following it up onto the Sylvanas. And now Uther getting low, going to use his heals and be able to get away. Good job there getting out on the Uther, but they're losing so much health, getting chunked a lot by this DOT-focused team, the Sylvanas and the Gul'dan, and they're going to have to give up this first Punisher to the side of Murk-alert. Level 7s are in for the defense, which is going to help them momentarily, as we're actually having level 7s coming in for both teams, really, so not too much of an advantage, but going to successfully bait the Punisher over. Indiana actually taking a ton of damage from the mortars there. Going to heal himself, so he'll be just fine on that Uther. But currently, 4 members defending, as we have Ragnaros in the bottom lane, trying to make sure they aren't falling behind it. So while Sylvanas is just pushing in with a huge minion wave in the top lane with her trait. Maybe, oh, Sonya actually getting the kill onto Ragnaros. Solo kills not that frequent here, but going to come out for Keon here. And lots of damage put into this top lane. Well done by Packet, but are they going to be able to get away? They mount up, but the charge is there for Varian, as well as the taunt, followed up by the stun, and that Sylvanas dead yet again. 2 kills to 1 in favor of Apoc Inc, but again, they are the ones who are losing the early structure damage. Ooh, Kokina Marie looking to stop this invade, but going to lose the point there and get taken out by the members of Murk-alert as they collapse in onto her. So evening up the kills there with a nice invade. They knew that there were 3 members up top for the side of Apoc Inc. and going to use that time to punish, taking a camp and now taking the neutral and the their favorite camp, as well as a potential kill here onto Nazgul. The jukes are there though, and he dodges a lot of the damage. The CC train very effective here, getting Misery Sin very low, but not going to be able to secure the kill as they did not have enough damage there. Greymane currently in the top lane, and Orphea coming back up now in the mid lane. Our next objective will be top, so the camps are all taken, so we aren't going to see any off-lane pressure beyond potential ultimate abilities here, as we have them coming in for the blue team. We've got the Lornado, the Leap, the Horrify, ETC currently holding actually, and the Wailing Arrow this time for Sylvanas. Lava Wave picked and immediately used for Ragnaros in the top lane, sees the Sonya pushing in, doesn't want to let that get too much value, as well as Divine Shield, the Crushing Jaws for Orphea, and the Cursed Bullet looking for additional aggression and blow up there. As well as, of course, we have the Warbringer giving a lot more mobility for the Varian there, as opposed to the Shield Wall, which might have given him a bit more survivability in these fights. Top Shrine is going to spawn. It's going to be a frozen one, so Sylvanas' trait not going to get quite as much value if they do end up taking this one, but it will act as if there was a Sylvanas trait in favor of Apoc if they're able to take it. So this is one which is honestly very important for them. If they're able to get this, they'll be able to have a lot of pressure throughout the game, as this is the best lane to hit with that Lava Wave later in the game during the shrines on the in the middle and bot lane. That being said, Uther gets low, uses the Divine Shield on himself to save himself. Taunt goes out, but Uther, not quite able to follow it up, is going to fall. Horrify comes out a bit too late, going to force the team members of Apoc into their fort as opposed to away. But that's going to be already a kill here for the side of Murk-alert, and it's onto the healer, which is such a crucial role here, basically securing at least a huge lead onto this objective. Apoc going to be down for the moment. In the mid lane, we do have the lane being pushed out, as well as the bot lane potentially here, or going on to the camp. So Apoc not completely falling behind. They're going to use this time to get some camps, try and get some pressure elsewhere on the map. But they do have a frozen Punisher coming into an open fort. They're going to need to defend that. Got to be careful with positioning as well, as this thing is going to jump as it goes onto Indiana on the Uther going to use his tap there. Lava Wave comes out to help with the defense. No minions to push in alongside it. So as soon as these structures unfreeze, it's going to be right onto the Punisher. That being said, it's a pretty low cooldown onto the timing of these eruptions, and it's going to be an easy fort for the side of our blue team here. All the meanwhile, Ragnaros and Greymane pushing in the other lanes of the map. Not sure how that's going to work out for them, as we have still a mostly full Punisher jumping in now with 4 members. The Horrified forcing Varian out. They're going to get some good damage on him. The Cleanse comes out a bit too early, as the Root is going to catch Apoc there. And level 13's in for both of these teams now. Ragnaros just now using his trait, as he was not there at the fort to try and save it then. So a bit late, and honestly I think a bit of a misplay from the side of Apoc. I think they could have used that to help them defend and maybe not lose the initial fort there. Greymane getting out just in time as Sonya comes to clear this camp. And now it's the mid lane being pushed in, thanks to Sylvanas with the possession, summoning extra minions basically for them to push in. Gonna get the fort down pretty low, which is not what you want to see if you're the red team, but what you do want to see is Gul'dan staying too long, getting caught out, taunted, and blown up. That is what this comp does best, and able to execute on it there. Very nice from the side of Apoc Inc. Taking a look at the stats here, Gul'dan putting in the work this game. Closest behind him is going to be Ragnaros, but it seems similar to last game where we had just such an enormous lead on the damage here from the Li Ming in the last game. And now Gul'dan showing his stuff, able to put in the numbers here. And a large part of that is going to be thanks to the fact that the objectives are over these controlled points on the shrines. Lava Wave coming just in time to go ahead and save this turret from the blue team, but somebody's getting caught out. It's Sylvanas again, pushing a bit too aggressively on her own, but with the 5-man rotation, we see 3 members of Murk-alert gonna push in this bottom lane, clear out the wave and that remaining turret. So finding a bit of damage elsewhere, as they do see all of the members of Apoc Incorporated in the top lane, getting the pick onto Sylvanas there. Both of these teams are very close in XP yet again, and it looks like they're just trying to take a passive stance onto the map on the side of Murk-alert, as they are down the Sylvanas. So a bit of a lead coming out as far as push in lanes, but really both of these teams aren't doing that much. Just waiting for this objective, which is going to be in the mid lane. The Bruiser camp will be up in favor of Apoc Inc. for that, which is worth noting because it was already taken for the side of Murk-alert, which means if a Lava Wave comes through, which it will likely do in about 30 seconds, that will push through and, with the Bruiser camp, potentially get some structure damage of their own onto it. The question is, are they going to detect the siege camp? They do, but it's a bit too late. Great job there from Sonya and Deckard, sneaking the camp away. As we have Varian in the top lane starting to clear this out. Bruiser camp is up, but not enough time to take it. So we are going to have to see if Ragnaros goes ahead and uses his ultimate ability to push out that lane. As Apoc actually taking a lot of damage just trying to defend this. The minions do a surprisingly large amount if you just let them attack you like that. He's going to have to back, but this time we are going to see a 5v5 fight over the shrine on equal talents here, which is something that Apoc Inc. hasn't been able to get. So this is their chance to start turning this game around. Lava Wave comes out in the top, but a huge corruption. Crushing Jaw is going to catch one, but Orphea punished for that over-aggression as she's all on her own. Gonna fall. Divine Shield used to save Uther. Fortify comes out on the Ragnaros, not going to finish the kill onto him, but it's going to be another shrine in favor of Murk-alert. And this fort is getting low, as well as the frontline members with a nice mosh pit. The cleanse is there onto Ragnaros, but it's not going to be enough. Both of the frontliners going to fall. Greymane now cut out on his own. He's potentially going to fall here, as the Lornado is beautiful, going to catch him. in between the well and the wall there. That's only one member, the healer here, alive for the defense on this push, which is very scary because it's an Arcane Punisher. It does a lot of structure damage, and they have Sylvanas' trait to lock down towers, which is going to mean that he's taking next to no damage. This could potentially be a game-ending push here, as we have only Orphea up, and with the keep going down already, I think this just might be it. Those picks were so powerful, and with the Sylvanas trait, they're able to push so effectively. Core is under attack. Leap comes out onto Orphea. Nice follow-up from WD on the ETC, getting the pings of appreciation from his teammates. We are going to see members of Apoc Inc. coming up, but it is too little too late. Game number 2 goes in favor of Murk-alert. A nice 2-0 for them. Well, well, well. Whew. Very, very impressive execution there. I think looking at the first game, I feel like there was a bit of back and forth, and it was definitely some luck in the lack of response to the Ragnaros, allowing for Murk-alert to hold on as long as they did and push in the end to take the win. But the execution over the shrines in the pushes on this map were extremely powerful, and Murk-alert gets a well-deserved 2-0 there. Very well played for them. All right. Well, that's our only best of 3 for the evening. So unfortunately, my voice is kind of shot, and I don't really have time for an interview, as I do have places to be early tomorrow morning. Gonna have to make sure that I hit the hay, get some sleep, so that my immune system will be able to do all right with the potential for stuff in the morning, and with the virus and all this crazy stuff going on. As you can tell, I'm tired. That's it for me. I'm gonna head on out. I'm gonna raid us over to a good friend of mine, my good pal Mockery. Go ahead and show him some love. He's a wonderful, wonderful player. Thank you everyone who came out for the evening. That's all for me. Catch you all later.